what can happen to many people because it's a workaholic culture. You might ignore your pains, you might ignore your um, like some symptoms, and I don't think anyone should ever do that. And as I told before, the guys from the ambulance, they just told me to go home.
Hello, this is Tokyo State of Mind, and we're back again. So, guys, because of Corona pandemic, many of us has started feeling um, weird, like in the sense that our mental health became worse, I would say, and I think many people has experienced as well. So that's why today we wanna talk about very important topic that maybe many of you will feel related to. So, as usual, I have the best host we ever had, my beautiful co host Hamida, who would share her own experience with us. So, hello, Hamida.
Hi, Katya.
How are you?
Great. I would say I had a nice break from everything, so I feel really great.
Yeah, it's been a long time, right?
Yeah, I would say it feels like forever.
Yeah, and still we're here in Tokyo, yeah, trying to deliver interesting stories.
Yes, I missed it so much. You cannot imagine.
I can imagine. I always miss it so much. So, anyways, please tell me what happened. You took a break, like 2 months from your job, and yes, could you please tell me your story?
Yeah, of course. So before I tell my story, I just wanted to make a disclaimer that I'm not a mental health professional or someone who is like professionally engaged in that industry. What I'm gonna say is just like uniquely my experience and the experience of people that I know. So like I don't want anyone to feel like that what is happening is like it's something that can happen to that will 100% happen to everyone. But yeah, basically what I'm going to talk about, what I want to share in this episode is my experience with the panic attacks. And the thing is like I've never had them before. It was my first time like um it was my first time like going, like it was so bad that actually had to go to the medical professionals, like, as you know, like you were
Yeah.
here. But what happened pretty much is that I was on a plane from one of my business trips, and the plane went into turbulence, and then I had like a very um, acute like pain in my chest. I felt like I was out of breath, and it was weird because like on my left and on my right there were like older people in maybe in their 70s or 80s or quite old, and everyone looked fine. So it seems that there was something that only I was experiencing, and I literally just had to like grab my chest and like just like take a deep breath and make sure it goes away. And as I came back, I started like searching on the internet, like, what is this? Like, is it heart attack or something? Because we watch all these movies,
Yeah.
like with the main character like grabbing their chest and like, oh my god, I'm dying or something. And I was like, oh my god, what if it's a heart attack? I'm too young. I don't want to die.
Mm,
But um, my searches like show that it could be like like on the internet, there's a lot of controversial thing. But I was like, okay, maybe that was just like one time thing. Maybe it will go away. But couple of days later, I had it again, and this time it scared me so much that I had to call the ambulance. And
So, can I ask you,
mhm,
was it like what triggered you at that moment? Because sometimes it can be closed space, like too many
mm,
people around you. It can be a dangerous situation that leads you to panic. But your second panic attack, how did
mhm.
it happen?
I think I was nervous. I was nervous about like not being able to send something on time on work.
Like you just stayed home,
I stayed home. Yeah,
like in your comfortable zone, like nothing is triggering you except your work.
exactly. Yeah, there was quite a safe space, and I was just like talking to my family, everything was okay, and then like I just had it, and I had to call the ambulance. And the funny thing is, like, when the ambulance, the crew came, like, it was already gone. So, but they were like, okay, we're taking you to the hospital because you were complaining on the pain in your heart. We need to check everything. So they brought me to this hospital somewhere in Ebisu area, and I spent my night in the hospital. They didn't let anyone in. They
because
didn't.
of Corona.
Yeah, because of Corona, and I think the hospital was in general pretty strict. They took like my blood maybe 10 or something, like a couple of times, and I just remember being like so miserable, like, because like they took so much blood that I was already panicking when they were trying to get more from me. And but pretty much like they ran all the tests, and they said on the next morning, they said, hey, you're fine, you should go back to work. But the pain didn't go away. Like the whole night I had to wear this special like thing that was like measuring my heart rate all the time. But it showed nothing. And they said, I just remember them saying like on the next day, everything is fine, you're young, go back to work. And I was like, what? Like there was like, so they said it's fine and everything. And I was like, I know my health, I know myself, I know I'm not fine. Like,
That's not fine.
yeah, I cannot go back to work. Like I need to find out the reason. Like, well, they say it's not hard, maybe that's something else. So I decided to take break from work. I for a week. And my Japanese friend's mom, she took me to her house. She's a really nice lady. Like she was like, maybe you're just stressed, that's why it happened. Like, you can stay at my house. So she was like taking care of me like mom, and was feeding me all the time. And you visited me at the time as well. And it's like, so I was watched by people. But the thing is, like, this pain didn't go away. And she introduced me to this Japanese like medicine called kampo, which is like based on herbs. It's something that is supposed to serve you, like, to calm you down, like something like maybe valerian root. And I was taking that for maybe like a week, but it didn't really help. Like, and I remember my Japanese friend's mom saying to me, like, the last thing you want to do in this situation is to take like any kind of like medicine.
Tranquilizers.
Yeah, like tranquilizers. Like, just reserve it as your last solution to this problem. And I just was like, okay, like, let's try it out. But pretty much nothing helped. And I still was felt like panicking sometimes, like out of nowhere. Or I still had like this pain in the chest, which was like the hardest part, I guess. And knowing that it was not hard made it feel even worse. But me and my family were coming to the conclusion that there was a mental thing. And
See, let me interrupt you here. So I think first that we're all done, because I've been through this as well, is our first reaction is to call an ambulance, because this is not normal. That happens to you out of nowhere and you don't know the reason. So this is why most of the people call the ambulance. And of course, ambulance finds nothing, because there is nothing wrong with your body.
yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong.
Yeah, but it's something in your head that calls like you're dying, and your body starts reacting like you're dying.
Yeah, you feel paranoid.
Yeah, it's definitely this toxic feeling that we need to take out from our heads. And that's important that you went to your friend's mother place, because staying alone would always get worse, lead to the worst situation. So yeah, that's good that you were trying to find the help, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and I'm very grateful, like, for all the support that I got. Definitely, like, there was quite a that was a key point, like, in the situation. But yeah, what happened next is that with after, like, I took some break, and I talked to people. Like, I realized I was advised to try out some mental clinic here in Japan. And the funny thing, when I was googling that, there were so many scammers, like so many people with bad reviews. And I was like, it's funny. Like, yeah, if you Google, you will see this ridiculous situation. Like, if you Google something like a mental clinic with English speaking stuff, like there were weird search results. But I found this one good mental clinic in Shibuya, and they had like really good reviews. And I went there, and they asked me like to fill out the forms like for the psychological test and for my health routine to make sure that I don't have any allergies, that there's, like I'm physically healthy. And I also submitted my documents from the ambulance to them so they could, I think they did quite a proper test to make sure that they based the treatment on as much information as they can. But yeah, the thing that made me really surprised about going to the clinic is that there were so many people there. Like, there were lots of people there, and there were people from the ages from maybe like, there were like teenage girls and guys, like up to like to very old people. So people were from different backgrounds, different genders, like different ages. Um, and you could how the clinic works is that like after filling all this information, they would assign you to see the doctor, and you see the doctor for 10 minutes. And during this 10 minutes, like, he asks you some questions about your life, about routine, makes you sad and what makes you happy and things. And so my doctor, he was the first one like to confirm something that I was already sure about, that what I'm experiencing is a panic disorder. Because it was not just one panic attack that happened, it was like a series of them, and they were happening like a different time. Like, it could be like anytime, even if I'm alone, or even if I'm with others. Like, it was very like sporadic, random. And he gave me the tranquilizers, Xanax, like a very popular like medicine that is they subscribe in the situation. And I was taking like two pills in the morning, two pills in the evening for a couple of days. And it was the first time when the pain finally stopped. And I felt like, okay, the medicine is actually working. The only thing that I started noticing some side effects. I felt like I couldn't felt like way too calm. Like, it's like, oh, sleepy, and just like very, very calm, like in
Not
general.
clear mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You cannot like judge the situation clearly, I think.
I wouldn't say that I couldn't judge the situation, but it's just like very calm all the time, like very stable. Like, I felt like my mood was like stabilized. And I was still on my break, and I was like traveling, and I was relaxing. But at some point, I felt like, okay, it's going well. Maybe I don't need to get any additional help, unless one day I just when because I researched the medicine before taking it. But then I got some new information that a lot of people, if they take this, if they take Xanax for a longer period of time, like maybe more than 2 months, then they can develop the addiction to that. And some part of me was saying, no, you shouldn't really rely on medicine that much. You should find a way to taper down the dose and fight like naturally. So I came to see my doctor on one of the appointments, and I asked him like to taper down my dose, and he gave me another medicine, like, but said like, that one you can taper down, but this is additional medicine to help you get out of the um you know of kind of like a not addiction, but like, it's I already was taking this medicine for a month. So he said like, if you take another one, then the other kind, it will help you um, to make this process of tapering down the dose like easier. So at this time, what I forgot to mention, I was also seeing, I was talking to a therapist. And there was like this amazing lady from my hometown who was who herself experienced panic attacks. And she was super understanding. She was like texting me all this time. She was she said like she was available 24 hours like a day, like any stupid question, whatever I had, like she was ready to answer. And I think like I'm definitely thankful for her presence, because like she was quite helpful. But she was also the one that said that's a good decision, like she supported my decision to taper down my medicine. And but she also said that if you want to do that, you have to be careful with the cold turkey symptom. Like it's a withdrawal symptom. Once you like start reducing the dose, like you might have like either like the your symptoms that you had before like increasing.
Regression.
Yeah, or you will have like some weird like physical symptoms like sweating and stuff. And on the day when I only took one pill, I started feeling very paranoid. I was like, oh my god, like what if something happens? I already started feeling how my brain was, I couldn't control it. And but some part of me was staying very rational. So on that day I called my friend to stay with me, and I said her like, I told her, like I'm not sure that I can survive this night by myself. I need someone to stay with me and just make help me feel like I'm here, because I started feeling like my mind was already off, like. And I can for sure say that if it's not for her, I don't know what could have happened, because she practically like saved my life on that night. I didn't know how I'm gonna react on the tapering of the dose, but on that night I woke up feeling like there's a firework in my head, and feeling like my soul was leaving my body. And um I practically like asked my friend to just like grab my hands and like and press it so I could feel something. And she was also trying to do some weird shaman ritual something, like everything just to make me feel present. And it helped. But I just realized from that day that I cannot stay by myself anymore, like because my mind is going weird. I I cannot sleep well. And it's just like I cannot explain, like this is such a complex like feeling. You feel like 97% of your brain already does not belong to you, but there is like 3% that is really trying to fight hard and stay rational and look for the answers, like, and look for the solutions for you to feel yourself. And um, so
I also want to add that, yeah, as you said, that you decided to minimize the dose of that tranquilizer. Um, as far as from my experience, I can say that the tranquilizers, medicines, is only temporal solution. The main problem can be solved only by a psychological help, like realizing what your problem is, why it happens, and something change your mindset or change something in your life which will directly help you to get from that situation. So yes, and also like you were describing this feeling like you're not in the place, like you're not here, like you asked your friend to touch your hand so you could feel. So there is also maybe for someone who also feel the same, some psychological methods. So it's like you have to find five subjects like around you, one color. Then you have to touch four different materials, like can be grass, wooden, plastic, anything. So you need to hear three different noises around you, and smell two different, I don't know, smells, and then you can taste something. One. So it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So
technique,
yeah, this technique really helps to be in the place, to realize where you are in now. So it's like calms you down. So it's really helpful as well, I think.
Yeah, I think it can pretty much help, like if you have like a very light stage of like panic disorder, but in my case it was so heavy that none of those techniques could work for me maybe then more than 1 hour. It was like I got the list of all these techniques from my psychologist, including that one. And I can say like that I tried the meditation, I tried all the things, but I could say that the tranquilizer were messing my brain so much that I couldn't even focus on those things. Like they were a very like short term solution, maybe like for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, but not like for a whole day. Like, and yeah, that was pretty hard to keep up with them. They were definitely helping, but very for a very short time. Like the other technique that she also taught me is like you need to pretty much like like follow the movement of the fingers. So it's a very simple but very genius technique in a way where your eye, because your eyes are connected to your brain, they become like more, this technique makes you present. And I was doing that all the time, and I was even asking my friends to do it for me. So yeah, that was a nice one. But in general, like I cannot even describe like how hard it was like to stay afloat, knowing all these tools and techniques, and realizing that, oh my gosh, if I have tapered down my dose from 2 pills to one a day, what's going to happen when I decide to take none of those pills, because I don't want to be addicted to them. And I just remember this episode when I just went out for a walk, and there was like this street full of illuminations. The other like very strong side effects that I have experienced is like a hypersensitivity to sound and light. I could become aggressive just because like something was way too like bright, or like some noise was like just like irritating me. It was crazy. And I just remember when walking, like passing through this elimination, I felt like I now I finally realized why all those celebrities, when especially like those who are maybe like taking drugs or whatever, the why they can react very aggressively if someone is taking pictures of them, because the light is really irritating. It triggers the anger. You just like just don't you just want it to be gone. You want the total darkness. And I was like, oh my god, like this is what I was reading about and I didn't understand. Now I understand now, because it's a true phenomenon. Like it's a true thing. Like it can happen to you. And um yeah, that was the moment when I was like, okay, I gotta really go home. I don't want like just like to blow blow up everything just because there are some cute trees on the street with the lights. And um I was, yeah, I definitely felt so out of place. And I went back home, and it was a long flight. And I was just so paranoid. I was really afraid that I'm not gonna make it home. I was about to tell to the whole crew in the plane that, guys, if something happens, just like learn these techniques and help me. But thankfully it went fine. And it was very hard to like have this like long layover in the airport in Dubai. But then when I got home, I cannot say that like everything magically disappeared, like maybe some of you guys expect to hear. But because my first 3 days I was still like out of place so much, I just lost weight. And my dad looked at me and he was like, you you should stay here forever. Like he was really scared. And um but he was the one who told me, like, I know that you're super afraid of like stopping, to stop taking those medicine, because like when you taper the dose you start feeling weird. But I can 100% assure you, if you from today stop taking any of this like pills, you'll be fine. We'll be fine, because you're surrounded by the family. If something crazy happens, we're here, we can do something about it. Like, you'll be fine, just don't take it. Go to the mountains, go to gym, like eat whatever you want, just like, but um have a confidence in yourself that it's gonna be like it's not taking any of those pills, like it's um will not be the end of the world. And it worked. Like my first week I was like still like trying to come to my senses, and um I was very triggered by like even small sounds or something. But um as I was more like focused on presence and like spending quality time with the family, and realizing that if I go crazy there are people like to take care of me, um it was going down. And after 2 months I finally managed to recover. And I still cannot believe that, like, I think like it's because my father told it to me. There was like such a strong like energy that I received. That he's a very powerful and confident person. Like he can, well, and whatever he said, like he really meant it. And I feel like I received like this energy from him, and I so it helped me like to gain confidence that even though I stopped taking those pills, I will not go crazy as they write in the articles. And there are so many scary articles in the internet where they say that, hey, you can, maybe your heart can stop or something. Like, so guys, like, yeah, there are articles like that, be careful. But um
I think for some, of course, as you said, it does take time.
mhm,
So it's not something you can get rid of in 1 week.
exactly.
Even in 2 months, I think also 2 months, it was very super fast.
Hmm.
For many people, it's maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year.
Yeah.
So I think I also had that fear that I would be addicted to some medicine. But as I said before, I think as long as it helps you and you're feeling better, and you're not conscious about about your heart rate or something, so I think it's better, like, yeah, like trusting your feelings and seeing the doctor. Yeah, it's the best, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In my case, like I can say that I'm actually a little bit like disappointed with the way how, um, like the doctors that gave me the medicine, they they didn't give me any like additional information. Like they didn't tell me something like, if you taper down the medicine, don't stay home alone, or like don't do this and this. They just gave it to me, and I felt like they were there was like lack of information. Like they could at least like give me the sheet of paper which was saying,
It's
this
not about
this
the
can
it's
be.
not about the medicine. It's about your symptoms. It's your personal symptom, for example.
Hmm.
And I think the doctor who is giving you this like warning list is not the psychiatrist, is psychologist. So
Oh.
I think
Hmm.
psychiatrist is the one who is prescribed the medicine, but psychologist is the one who is like trying to fix your brain,
Mm.
like mentally. So he would say, like, don't stay alone, don't like do this, don't drink coffee because it like highs your blood pressure and something like that. So yeah, but at least like side effects, maybe she or he should have told you
Yeah,
some
they
side
didn't tell me
effects.
anything. That's the thing. They didn't tell
Mm,
me anything. I understand we live in the world where you can Google things, but
mm,
one thing that I feel really um controversial about is like you can Google, but there are like so many fake articles. Like you don't know
yeah,
where to believe, and you at least expect that the professional will sort out like some things for you, like, and tell
yeah.
you like, hey, don't. I know maybe for some people it might be like obvious thing, right? Like don't stay alone and
Mm,
stuff. But at the
mm,
same
mm.
time, it's not an obvious thing if you're mentally sick and
No,
you're already
no,
like
no.
you're
You
already
don't
losing
know.
your shit, like,
Yeah,
and then you don't know even how to do the daily uh,
yeah,
things, and they just don't tell you. um yeah, it's like I feel like in this way, like the mental institutes, they have a long way to go to improve, like not just give you like the 10-minute appointment, but actually um at least be a little bit more responsible, and um telling you about the possible effects, and that you need to be at least saying something like you need to be watched out, don't stay alone, like let
yeah.
or like, I don't know, I know it's maybe too much to ask like to um check them, to make sure that they check in with you. But I guess like in Japan is a specific, like it's a special country in a way that people are quite isolated here. Like if you live in other places, or like, well, in big cities, of course, like it's there's so, like in every big city, it's so, people are in generally isolated, isolated, and they don't have like family members around and stuff. But it might be an obvious thing, like, yeah, you live in megapolis, no one will check on it. But they definitely should take in consideration that people who live in big cities, they have nobody to just like watch them, and to understand, like, especially if you're new to a place, no one will look at you and say, hey, for example, Katya, something is wrong with you. They don't know what's wrong with you, because they don't know you, right, long enough to understand that you're acting weird, or there are some changes that people should be like aware of.
And also, in our countries, if you buy medicine, we can see the official paper, like the side
Right.
effects, and we can read,
Right.
like, this is proven information,
Right.
tested. But in Japan, they give you only these
Cute.
blisters,
Yeah.
or how it calls. So no information about like what does it do to you.
Right. Yeah.
So what kind of side effects it has, and you have to Google, and then you don't know if this information
Right.
is truth or not. So it's like, yeah, I understand that totally.
It gives you another mental stress, right? Because you're like, okay, should I believe that guy with his article, or that one? It's like, where is the truth? Of course, like everybody's like experience with the pills is special, because I know, in fact, like some friends for whom tranquilizers made like magic for their life. Like they take them and they're fine. No weird side effects. They help them. They live with them. Um, but of course, like but in my case, I felt like my body was like alerting me. It's like, I don't want it in me. Just like, get rid of it. Don't take it, because like once I stopped taking it. I didn't have weird side effects. I was home. I was I started. It was not like something that happened with the swing of a magic wand, and like um, of course it took like some time, but definitely I didn't have any of those. Like, so it's like, it's definitely a case by case situation. um, like
I see.
everyone
I
has a
see.
different.
Yes, I think that's true. And what would you have done differently if it happened to you?
Of course, I think if I knew that it's gonna happen, and if I could go back in time and do something differently, I definitely would have just gone home earlier, like even before taking medicine. Just like, it was so worth it. And I just, yeah, I would have never took any of those pills, and probably lived happily. But I'm also this kind of person that believes like whatever um, happens to you happens for a reason. So the bad things also teaches you a lot. So I believe that the reason why I want to share the story is because I genuinely want for people who might suffer from the same problem, to understand that they're not alone. And I would also encourage like to make more research, and be cautious about the pills, because they can really really mess up your brain. And also like not staying home alone. um, I would recommend that for sure. And the other thing probably would be, yeah, just if it hurts, react on that. Just don't sit in it, because I think in Japan what can happen to many people, because it's a workaholic culture, you might ignore your pains, you might ignore your like some symptoms. And I don't think anyone should ever do that. And as I told before, the guys from the ambulance, they just told me to go home. And I was realizing how lucky I am, like, to have this information in different languages, and have that mentality is like, I will not believe the doctor, I will believe myself, and just like try to find another solution, try to see another doctor. But imagine, like, if someone was told that and totally believed that, okay, we checked your heart, you're fine, and just continued working. Well, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, isn't it insane? Like, for that there for sure there can be people like that, and it's like how they are just like how much they're like the victims of the system. It's like, it's crazy. So
Or you're just okay, you go home, you went and got your prescribed medicine,
yeah, follow it.
you're just taking, and you continue doing your triggering job. So this is not okay. And I think the first step is like, yeah, isolate yourself from something that you feel stressed about. And yeah, because this is the number one step. Or if you cannot just simply escape it, yeah, visit the psychologist, make that something in your head work.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely very important not to let it go just so simply. Don't wait that it will disappear by
Yeah,
itself. No, it won't.
the faster you react, I think the better. Not to wait for things to go that bad, for sure. And the other thing that I definitely wanted to talk about is one thing that I feel like maybe a lot of people who are like, also like us foreigners in Japan. Japan had made is I think it's quite maybe like unlike most people might think, it's quite progressive in the way that they recognize mental diseases, and you can take a mental break from work.
Mm-hmm.
So due to COVID, there is actually a legitimate kind of a social program where you can like, you fill out, you and the doctor that is treating you, you fill out the forms, plus the company does some documents. You fill out the forms and you can get up to like 70% of your salary even though you're like on a break. And as far as I think it's a case by case situation, but I heard that some people are getting it's like more for about like half a year. They're not working, they're taking a mental break, they're just see, but the prerequisite is seeing a doctor all this time. But then you get your salary, so you don't have to stress about like, supporting yourself. So this is a big tip for people who are considering taking a mental break and worried about the financial situation. I think you should guys definitely use it once you get the chance. It's not like 100% guaranteed that you're gonna pay it, but there is a chance that you'll be get paid, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it hurts to try it out. So yeah, in that way, like, I feel Japan is doing really good. I'm glad that people are
Do you
starting to
need
take
a
it.
special health insurance for that?
Um, it's just a normal health insurance.
Just normal.
Yeah, but your company, it depends also on the company a lot. But if your company like is a startup, of course they're not gonna pay you salary during this time, but the government will cover your salaries through that like
And how can
program.
you apply for this government cover
You need
covering?
to talk to your company. It's called like shobioate,
Mm-hmm.
and you just talk to the person who is kind of like a secretary who's responsible for the documentations in your company, and that person helps you fill out this form. So some people even filling out this form for if they have like problems like mental stress because your husband went to jail, like, or something. So they realize that like people need to recover from traumas, from mental diseases, and they support that.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah, that's very useful information, I think, because I think Japan is quite different environment from our countries, for example. And first coming here is the feeling of isolation, especially during pandemic. And yeah, that was great that you shared your story because it's not a pleasant memories that we want to reproduce in our heads and talk about that. So thank you so much for sharing that
Yeah,
with us.
I'm glad I could share it after living through it. But yeah, for sure, like, I really wish the best for the people who are struggling with that, um, and I want to give hope that there is a happy ending that can be happy ending like in this situation. It's not, I used to think that, oh my gosh, what if I'm never gonna be normal again? Like, what if I will always have this weird panic attacks and be paranoid? But luckily, I got out of that. So you guys, you can do that too. Just do your best to try all this, to go to different doctors, do everything,
Stay with your family.
staying with your family and making sure that you reserve like the pills as your last resort. Guys, if you have any stories like that, or if you want to share your experience dealing with like panic disorder or other like mental issues in Japan, please let us know in the comments. We would like to know more about your situation, about how you went through or going through that. So we'll be waiting for the comment for you. We're always looking for the feedback and for your voice on Tokyo State of Mind.
Thank you so much for watching this, and see you next time. See you. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.